We want to thank Marconi for having us here tonight. This is kind of a little multifaceted event. We're going to do a brief panel with some of our board, and then we're going to show a video. Someone from our organization is going to speak, someone that was a little and is going to become a big. And then Rob, our host for the evening, is just going to talk to you all for just a brief minute. So thank you all for coming. This is a really important night for us. And so I'm going to ask those that Bratille emailed and asked to be on the panel to come up. I will introduce you all when you get up here. And I know who you are, so don't hide. Peter DeForge. Anywhere you want. Brian, do you want to just grab that mic right there? And then maybe sit in the middle? And I am missing Peter DeForge. Okay, I'm going to stand back here. I'm going to kind of get out of your all's way. Okay, so I know we sent you a couple questions, and we're going to have to kind of pass the mic around, but just so everyone here knows, one of the most incredible, or the things that I am most fortunate about as CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters is our board of directors. And we would not be the agency that we are today without them. And just so you all know, there's 340 different agencies nationally, and for the last 2 years, we have been a finalist for the Agency of the Year, which is an incredibly prestigious honor. And the last 2 years, we've actually come in second. But this year and last year, we were nominated for Board of Directors of the Year. And it was unanimously decided this year that our board of directors was by far the best board of directors of any Big Brothers Big Sisters in the country. So thank you guys. You deserve it. And so thank you. And many on this board have been serving us for a while. I'll start. Peter DeForge is the president of Wool Investment Company, which is a real estate investment firm. Yes, Peter, right? And has been involved with us for about 20 years. John Nicoletti is with Disneyland. And John, you've been involved three or 4 years. And we're obviously incredibly grateful for the Disneyland partnership. I think their bucket list item number 1 is to go to Disneyland. And we actually just picked up today tickets for all of our graduating littles to get to go to Disneyland with their big. Something they're all excited. Don't tell them. It's a secret. And then, of course, our host, Rob Friedman, the founder and chairman of Auction.com, who does so many things for us that I would be here all night. Brian Davis. So Brian is an attorney. He actually recently helped us out greatly with our new building. For those that haven't been, please come by. And does mostly corporate law? Real estate? Okay. And then we have Darren Thomas. And Rob, okay, so John's 4 years. Rob has been involved with us for almost 30 years. So since he was 5. Brian is a former Big Brother and been on the board 3.5, so around the same time as John. So Darren is with Irvine Company, and he heads up HR for them. And Mark, actually, you guys are our little HR corner. So Darren heads up HR for Irvine Company, Mark at First American. Darren, you've been on the board 3, 4? Okay. So we run the gamut. Between all of them, it's quite a long time. So we're going to start off. We have a lot of people in the room who are at different stages in their career. But I think one of the things about Big Brothers Big Sisters and those involved with us is everyone is incredibly dynamic and incredibly type A. And if they aren't the heads of whatever organizations they're with now, they are probably tapped as being a future leader in their organization. And so if you could go back to yourself at that point, what advice would you give? And I'm going to start off with you, Rob. Oh, here, you take this one, I'll turn that one.
I would just say, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Go for it. Make decisions. We like people who are willing to make the tough decisions and live with your decisions, and if you make a mistake, so what? Get up and move forward.
John?
I think it would be to stay true to yourself. All of us have a certain degree of ourself that we sometimes give up. And what I would tell you to do is don't lose sight of who you are, ever. If you have a passion for whatever it may be, don't ever lose sight of that. I think sometimes we get into our own situations at work where we're forced to be somebody else, and I don't think that our authentic self, not being true to your authentic self, is ever a good thing. So that's what would be my advice.
Okay, pass it over to Peter.
There you go. I'd say we're a mentoring organization, and I say mentoring is probably one of the most important things in a career path. So finding a mentor that you can trust and that you can take an example from, I think is really important. Find somebody who's doing what you ultimately want to do, and pick their brain and listen to them and listen to what they have to say.
So who's been your biggest mentor, and how did you find that person?
Well, I've got a business partner for 30 years. He's 20 years older than me. So when I joined him, I was very young. And at the time, obviously, he was my primary mentor. But I look at also what other people in my business have done. And there's several guys who are in the commercial real estate investment business. And I've watched how they've done, what they've done, how they've been successful. And you really learn a lot. So.
Okay. So I'm going to pass it, or if you want to, I'm going to go down this way and ask a new question. Starting off with Mark and Darren, if you guys see a whole lot of resumes, meet with a whole lot of people, and I know your teams do, what is something that someone can do to set them apart? Because it seems like so many people, they went to a great college, they had a great GPA, they may be, dynamic and personable and all of those things, but what really can have someone rise to the top? Because I'm sure there's positions where hundreds of people apply, and how do you make yourself known?
Well, I'll step back to the first question real quick,
okay.
because
Go
I think it's an interesting point, because I got asked a similar question by my nephew who had been in a job about 2 years, and he was ready to get a raise. And my comment to him was, don't ask for more money, ask for more responsibility, and the money will come. So hard work is still a great currency that gets recognized inside of big companies. And relative to how to rise to the top, events like this, where you get a chance to meet people, get somebody's business card, somebody that's inside of a big company, a warm introduction inside a company or somebody that you can connect with, and get your resume handed to somebody rather than queued up on the internet somewhere in one of the job boards. Meet people, work it, run the streets a little bit.
So I'm going to do the same thing that Mark did, because I think it's related to what I'm going to talk about in terms of the second question, and that is, don't be afraid to take risk. In fact, there's a direct correlation between success and risk, more of a correlation between the willingness to take risk and success than there is education and success. So I'm not suggesting that you don't get the right education, you should, but particularly early in your career and mid-career, you need to take risk. You need to push the envelope. You need to have that night or two where you're laying in bed staring at the ceiling because you're nervous about something that you've done or how you've pushed the envelope. Because if you're not pushing yourself, you're not going to put yourself into the category, I think, that you would stand out. Because if you've got the right education, you got the great grades, networking, I think, is extremely important, because a lot of contacts are made through informal networking like this, where, and by the way, it doesn't pay off for 6, 12, 18 months later. All of a sudden, 2 and 2 gets put together and there's an opportunity. But when you're sitting in that room and you're in your interview, what we'll be looking for is, okay, you versus 3, 4 other people, what is it that you did, whether you succeeded or you failed, that shows that you're willing to push the envelope in whatever field you're in, that you're willing to do something that the others haven't done, even if you failed. You don't want to be catastrophic, but your ability to articulate that and why you did it and how you did it, that I think will go a long way for making you stand out as a candidate.
How important is kind of social media today in that? I mean, do you look at people and if they have a LinkedIn profile, do you check that out? Do you check out Facebook? Do you kind of do all of those little due diligence pieces? Does that play a factor at all?
I don't, all the cool people do, but I don't see a lot of that. Maybe Mark does, but to me it comes into play a lot with all of the networking and the contacts. I mean, I honestly don't get that involved with it. Our recruiters are constantly out pinging LinkedIn, pinging Facebook. As you all know, there's certain keywords that we're looking for. If you do want to have a social media presence, because we do go out and we look for candidates that are, we call them passive candidates, people who aren't looking for jobs. A lot of times those are the people that we want to hire, and social media is a great pathway to do that.
Once again, probably not the right demographic. It depends on who I'm talking to, but have a LinkedIn page, have a professional picture on LinkedIn. I don't want to see a picture of you and your wife on LinkedIn. I don't want to see a picture of you at a party on LinkedIn. The Facebook thing I'm not as familiar with, other than our recruiters look at Facebook, and if 2 years ago you've got a shot of you and your buddies doing a beer bong, probably not the best thing that's going to get you get you pointed our direction, being what kind of company we are, but know what's out there about you and manage it to whatever goal you're trying to achieve.
So I'm going to ask you, John, because you do a lot of PR and marketing and messaging with Disney, and the company has just such a tremendous reputation internationally. What about you from that standpoint? How can someone make themselves stand out?
I think there's a lot of ways. I would make sure, first of all, that there is a professional image of you out there. I think anytime that you can stretch the boundaries and get outside of what it is that people want to pigeonhole you. I think too often people looked at your LinkedIn profile or your Facebook page and they want to typecast you into one certain way. The more you can break beyond those boundaries to take the risk that we talked about, and that's whether it's volunteering in an organization like this, or whether it's an outside interest that you have that proves that you're willing to go outside and take those risks that are necessary. I think those are really key. For us, and for me personally, I know the reason that I switched from the job I was in to the job that I'm currently in, I was working here locally in Orange County and I wanted more of a global focus. So I switched to a role that had more of a global focus, that I had the ability to influence work that was happening in our parks around the world. So for me, that was extremely important because I didn't want to be seen as just somebody who was focused just on one particular thing, and that was Orange County, where I had spent the majority of my career. I think as you look forward in your careers, the global workplace is something you're going to have to contend with. It's what I tell the students that I mentor. It's the students that I teach at the various universities where I speak. You have to have a global mindset. And in order for you to have that, you've got to expose yourself. Well, that sounded wrong. You have to be willing to show yourself in different categories and show your breadth and scope of what you can do.
Great. Okay, Brian, I'm coming to you. So you were Big Brother. How did you get involved in doing that? What made you decide to kind of pull the trigger and become a Big?
I had several friends that were bigs, and the night I decided to pull the trigger was gourmet dinner.
Which is our gala every year. For those that have not been, it's quite a good time.
The first year that I had really been exposed to Big Brothers, Big Sisters intimately was through the gourmet dinner. I'd had friends through college and law school that were bigs that had constantly preached the message that they were passionately involved with, and it was a huge aspect of their life, but I was involved in my own career and doing whatever I was doing. And then the Point of Light situation that we had at Big Brothers Big Sisters. If you don't know, at every event that we host, we typically have this Point of Light where a big and a little get up and they talk about their experiences, and that had a profound impact on me. And I knew immediately that it was a stage in my life where I had a little bit extra time. I was at a point in my career where I really wanted to start giving back. So I called Big Brothers Big Sisters and started the process, and it was easily the most rewarding experience of my life.
Can you talk a little bit about how, because you obviously were a Big Brother, transitioned onto our board of directors. How has that involvement played into your career? And How important do you think it is for people to be involved with kind of social impact organizations, be on the board, be volunteers, whatever that is, as a way of networking and giving back to the community?
Well, I'll probably tie it back to Peter's first comment of mentorship. A very important part of my career and the reason why I'm here today is I had wonderful mentors from a very early age. I had a father who I couldn't be more proud of to call my father, and he always said, work hard, have integrity, have character, and the rest will follow. And it has, and part of that integrity and character aspect of it is really understanding that giving back socially and having a civic responsibility and philanthropic responsibility is just as important as your career, and as long as you maintain, core tenets of your life, everything else will follow. People want to work with you, people want to do business with you, people want to help you. I couldn't be more proud of the board that I serve on. I couldn't be more proud to serve with you and the rest of this board. This isn't a board that the board members write a check and disengage. This is a board where every single board member is actively involved day to day. Our chairman, I was involved with the building acquisition, the sale. Our chairman was spending 80 hours a week on this, and these are all men and women who are constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, but they find the time, they carve out the time to give back to the community, and that's probably why I'm so proud to be on this board. And it definitely helps the career because you're involved with the right people, you're working with the right people who are doing the right things, and that's how you want to be associated. You want people to think of you in a positive light, that you're doing the right things.
Okay, Rob. So Rob, you're like the true entrepreneur's entrepreneur. You've had many different businesses. Your career progression has just been tremendous and something that others should emulate. But I know you've worked incredibly hard. Can you talk a little bit about maybe a setback along the way and what you learned from that and how it made you stronger in the end?
Sure. So I'm an entrepreneur. That's born and raised. And I've had a lot of successes, and I've had a lot of failures, and I've learned from my mistakes, and I've learned from other people's mistakes. Going back to the mentorship, I'm proud to say that I was introduced to this organization by a mentor of mine 30 years ago. And be smart enough to learn from other people's mistakes, and be smart enough to talk to, I don't call my attorney and I don't call my accountant for business advice. I call my mentors that are specific to that type of question for those type of answers, because these are the guys who have been in the war, in the business war, and have typically won. That's why I have them as my mentors. But find the good mentors, hang out with them, come to events like this. This is what's going to make you lucky. How do you get lucky in life? You're at the right place at the right time. This is that type of event. Mix with people in your industry. Become the go-to guy when somebody needs something done, and be known as the make it happen guy. I mean, when we started out, we were willing to work 24/7. We worked whatever it took to be successful. We were successful. But I've had a lot of failures, and you just pick yourself up, shake yourself off, and move forward, and don't worry about it.
Did you imagine then where Auction.com is today?
No, I mean, frankly, I have the greatest partner in the world. We've been partners since we were born and raised here in Orange County, and we grew up going to the swap meet together, and I have a great partner. He wants to own the world, and I'm happy with just having a nice house. But anyways, we've been very good together, and that's another good point, I think. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. In my situation, that's not that hard to do. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, and give them a task and hold them to that task and make sure they do a good job, and let them do it, and things will typically work out if you have metrics that you can judge along the way to make sure everything's getting done.
Okay, my last question, and I'm going to go down the line and ask each of you. So you all, I'm sure, get hit up or pinged by a lot of different organizations. There's thousands upon thousands of different nonprofits in Orange County, and thousands of those that deal specifically with children in need. Why are you involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Well, for me, it's interesting. Philanthropically, several years ago, I decided, because I was involved in actually several different organizations and donating here and there to several different organizations, and I made the decision that I really wanted to just pick one organization and focus on that and put all my time and effort into that. And Big Brothers, the reason why I picked Big Brothers is there's no better value for your invested dollar. And the reason for that is because the majority of the work that's being done is all being done by volunteers. So by simply supporting that volunteer match, which costs about $1,500 a year, you are, for $1,500, you're moving the needle for these kids' lives far more than some other organizations. And I mean, they're all great and they all have a place. But in terms of the dollar spent, I think the needle moves more at Big Brothers than anywhere else, because you have this volunteer that's spending their time and putting effort into this relationship and really changing these kids' lives. So,
Thanks. John?
For me, it was something we had talked about, and many people have talked about, having a great mentor, having somebody that led them forward. This organization does that for so many thousands of kids around the nation, but especially here in Orange County. Disney has actually proved that fact through some research that we presented last year at with the Search Institute, that kids who have a meaningful relationship with an adult, and that could be a parent, but more importantly for this organization could be a mentor, are 3 times more likely to eat better, to have empathy for others, to uphold their commitments, and they're 2 times more likely to get A's in school. It's been proven, so much so that we've launched a program called Better Together to really talk about time spent together, and obviously Disney Parks is a big place for that. This is not a commercial for us. This is a commercial for the time that is spent with bigs and littles. That time is so precious to those individuals that the volunteers are serving. That together time means so much to them that it actually changes their lives. So that's why this organization is so important to me.
Thanks. Rob?
I'm involved because it is such a simple concept. I mean, at its core, we're taking kids that, without our help, most likely or possibly will go down the wrong path, and with a little bit of guidance from someone they respect, they become good citizens and good Americans. I think it's a great investment in humanity. I'd rather work on an issue before it manifests itself into a lifelong problem. That's why I love this organization.
Thanks. Brian?
So I would say I have a personal experience with Big Brothers, being a big myself for a little while. And I have that emotional relationship with the money that we raise and the good works that the Big Brothers does. But the most important thing for me right now is the metrics and the results. I'm a very results-driven person. I run my own business, and it's all about results. And the amount, in what Peter was touching on, the amount of good work that is done and the amount of lives that are changed based off of the investment that I'm able to give is exponential. So I'm investing in all of you, all the mentors, to go out there and to change lives, not just for the little, but for the rest of the little's family. I was talking earlier with someone who's looking at possibly being a big, and think about it this way: if you're a big for a little that's the oldest in his family, and nobody else from his family had ever finished high school or gone to college, well, we have statistics that 80% of the kids that graduate through our programs wind up going to 4 universities. A lot of those kids, they're the first in their whole family to ever go or even think of the possibility of going to college. And none of that would be possible without Big Brothers. And that one particular person whose life was changed because of your volunteer efforts as a big has that exponential impact on the rest of his or her family. And the little brother, the little sister thinks of it as an opportunity because that one big said that there is money out there. You can actually do this. It is possible. You don't have to just drop out of school and earn money for the family. You can make something better of your life. And without Big Brothers Big Sisters, none of that would be possible. So it's that exponential reward aspect of it and the actual results that we get that's most important to me.
Darren.
So for me, it's really, I'll boil it down to two things. It's the cause and it's the people working on the cause. And what, it's already been stated, the needs and the success of Big Brothers. And I think Big Brothers is a tremendously successful organization, not only here locally, but nationally. I actually started working with Big Brothers back in Dallas many years ago, and what drew me to it was initially the cause, and then getting to know the people that were focused on it. That was really kind of the clincher for me. I've been able to get involved with Big Brothers here. It's the same thing. It's a great cause. The people here are great. They're wonderful. They're fun to work with. This is volunteer work. You're doing it right in your spare time. You want to be around a bunch of people that you enjoy being around. I think that's very important, and it's very real with this organization here. I've been on previous boards. Was on a board, as an example, great people. The cause was, we're going to make our really nice city even nicer, in a nice community, we're going to make it even nicer. I compare that to what we're trying to do, and we're trying to help people with their lives for the rest of their life. For me personally, there was no comparison. I enjoyed being around both sets of people, but there was a much bigger cause as I looked at Big Brothers relative to other volunteer opportunities.
Mark, you get the last word.
I'm not quite sure how to develop this metaphor, but as a business person, a lot of time you spend, or a lot of the time you spend is spent on identifying and developing talent to help you grow your business. I think this is a lot about identifying and developing talent much further down before somebody's ready to actually join a business. So I think it's a real opportunity to develop talent and have an influence on how somebody's going to turn out at a very young age. If you're a big brother and you're in this room right now, you know that, and thank you very, very much. If you're in this room right now and you're not a big brother, this is a chance to think hard about developing something special in somebody that ends up going into the business world and having an opportunity to be involved with somebody. It's a gift that you can open every 2 weeks.
Great. Well, thank you all for participating and coming tonight and supporting us. You all do so much. We're so thankful.
I remember being on that wait list, and I didn't really think about it until I saw that video where it has, he was waiting 8 months. 11 months, but I remember the anticipation of just waiting for a big brother, because life at home, I have a very similar story to that, was pretty hard. My mom had 5 kids, and she was a single mom for up until I was 18. But we grew up, so my mom, she would work, some 60+ hours just trying to feed us, minimum wage jobs. So my big brother for me became the escape away from that, gave me the opportunity to go out and do things I never thought that I would have done. I remember the first time I touched snow or saw snow in person, he took me up on a camping trip to Big Bear. And it's memories like that really stick with you, but more than anything, I knew that I could always count on him to be there. To this day, we still keep in contact, but it's really hard to say everything that he's given to me. I would say that since my mom was a single mom, and she just never had the opportunity or the time to not only raise me as a mother, but raise me as a man. And I feel like that's where George came in and instilled a lot of confidence in me, made me believe in who I was, and also pushed me in the right direction, always made sure that my grades were good in school. I started behaving a lot better, not so many trips to the principal's office. So things for me felt like they were just falling in place, and I started to kind of move away from that idea that I had negative feelings, you're worthless, you're this and that. You just feel very low when you're so impoverished and you look around and everyone has so much opportunity going to them, it almost makes you angry a little bit. But, you know, with the time I spent with George, like that anger started unraveling, and I just have him to thank for kind of developing me into the man that I am. So the other day I was driving by on Edinger and I saw the building, and I finally decided to go in because I feel like it would be selfish of me to, I guess, take all the experiences that I had with this program and not be able to give that back to somebody. So it's kind of a cool, I guess, comeback story for me to be standing here where I could have gone down a very darker path had I chosen that. But definitely with George in my life, I think things turned up. And if you're comparing me to most 25-year-olds that have been given so much opportunity, I feel like, you know, I'm gonna toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm in a very good spot now. So, I guess.
Gil, thank you. Your big brother, big sister family is very proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. First, I want to thank the incredible staff of Big Brothers Big Sisters we have. I've been around a long time, and we've had a lot of staff, but this is by far the strongest we've ever had. Melissa, Bratil, Sloan, and ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much for everything you do. Incredible work. Now, before I get on it, I'd like to see how many of you guys have never been to a Big Brother event or are kind of new to this event. You're not Big Brothers. Can you raise your hand? Oh, great. Well, thank you all very much for coming out and learning a little bit about what we do and who we are. I think you'll be very intrigued. And to my big brothers, you know, we were talking, and I told Melissa, I don't think we do enough to really tell you how great you guys are. I want to tell you, you know, a lot. You think you're just a big brother, but I'm telling you, you're way more than that. You're way more than a big brother. You're a mentor. You're taking these kids down the right path. You're helping them get through school, and I call that a hero. And I really thank you for being a hero to these kids. Orange County's better for it. America's better for it, and I thank you all very, very much. Really. So I was blessed. 30 years ago, I had a mentor of mine introduce me to Big Brothers Big Sisters, and a few years into it, they asked me to be on the board. And I got to tell you something. I'm very, very proud of my involvement with this organization. You know, people look at it like we're reaching out and we're helping these kids, but it's really so much more than that. I can tell you that being part of Big Brothers is going to make you a happier person. And I can tell you that when you're a happier person, your self-esteem is a lot better. Your career is a lot better. Things just go better when you're a happier person. You're meeting the right people because you're hanging out with the right people. It's really, really important. You're taking these kids right down the right path, and it just couldn't be a better thing to do. Now, that's the good news, and we just bought a building across the street, and we're very, very proud of that building. And the beautiful thing about that building is right now we're having a lot of people walk in and say, hey, my kid, or I would like to have my own Big Brother. So that's the good news. The good news is we are supporting over 2,000 matches here in Orange County. That is incredible. That's one of the biggest in the country, thanks to this incredible crew. 2,000 kids. Yeah, it's great. But the important thing, but the sad thing is, right now, we have almost 200 kids on a waiting list. 200 kids that are waiting to be matched with a hero. 200 kids that are waiting a year. So tonight, I'm going to ask you guys who are not Big Brothers to make a commitment, at least make an appointment, and come in and see what we're all about. Who of you will do that? Who are you going to be? Great. One. We need 25 tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. We beat it. All right, guys, thank you very much. Listen, 27, thank you. What I need you to do, it's real easy, is right in the back, we have appointments that you can go and pick a time that works for you. It's a real simple concept. You go over, check it out. I think you're going to love it, and welcome aboard. Thank you very much. I think right now we're going to do a drawing, and then we'll do a little bit more. I got to talk to my big brothers, tell you how we can do more.
If you raised your hand, please go back here to the purple balloons and give them your information, and you can even sign up for your interview at the agency right now. So, gentlemen, I saw you with your hands up.
Thank you, guys.
Scooch back to the back of the room. Okay, and so while you all are doing that, we're gonna do a little raffle. So you want to
I'll hold you poll.
Okay. All right, and so the winner, we have two winners. I'll pull them both out now, and those people get Disneyland tickets.
Cool.
So thanks, John. So the first one is Drew Levine. Drew, are you a big? Are you going to become one? Oh, you do? Oh, well, fantastic. And second is Brooke J. And she, yeah, totally. Bertile has it right here. Awesome. Disneyland tickets for everyone. And if I'm going to do a little plug, if you haven't been lately, it's the 60th anniversary of Disneyland this year, and it's totally revamped. But go early because it's at capacity and you have to wait like forever. So thank you so much to Disneyland. And then I think that this is the staff passing them out now. Okay, so in addition to those that are in the back making appointments, I think that right now a few wonderful people from our team are passing out pieces of paper and pens. So please take that piece of paper, hold on to it. Rob is going to talk a little bit about that.
Right. So, listen, as I said, guys, first of all, again, I can't thank you enough for everything you do. And if you just continue to be great big brothers, we are very happy and very pleased with everything you do. But as you know, we got the new building. We've got a lot of kids